Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Business over Fika. This is your host Tahir.
And this is your co-host Jay.
So today on the show we have a very special guest. He's the founder and CEO of Nordic GUI Technologies. Thor, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about your company. How did you start your company?
Well, I started Nordic GUI Technologies in 2020, I think it was, in January then. It was a replacement for my earlier company. I needed to have a AB, that's a shareholders company. And before that I had only I don't really know what to call them. Enskild firma is the Swedish name for that. So it was all in my name and with my personal economy mixed with everything else. But I think your listeners knows all about that. But then again, what I started for is that I have a project that I've been working on for the last 23 years. So it's a software project that isn't quite done yet. It has been a hobby project most of the time. Well, I've been busy with different endeavors in the games industry, in the online poker industry, insurance industry, and a few other things. And so I need a company to develop this product. And I've been working on this product full time since, it must be 2018, early 2018.
Oh, it has been 6 years.
Yeah,
Nearly
it has been 6 years I've been working full time on it. And I've also added a second product as well. And none of them are really done yet, but I'm working on both of them and hoping to launch them in the not so distant future.
So what's your second project that you're working on?
Yes, maybe I should mention the first project first, since I haven't done that. And that's what you call a UI Toolkit for C++. So when you're developing a graphical user interface in C++, you need to use some kind of toolkit. And usually you use something built in or a cross-platform one like Qt or GTK. I've made my own one, replacement for that. And it's being used by a company in Linköping in all of their products. And so I have one customer, but I haven't really launched it yet. It's kind of beta quality. The second product that you were interested in, that's called Cybersim. And it's actually not my product from start. I took it over. It was my previous employee before I started to do my own stuff full time. They had developed simulator, driving simulator, basically a little game for the PC, but with a twist. It's medical software. It's used for evaluating if people who have suffered some kind of brain injury, especially stroke, if they still are capable of driving the car in a safe way. So it's a simulator where you go through some simple driving tests, and the simulator do some checks on how you react, timing and precision and stuff like that, and then it presents an evaluation. So this product basically existed before I got involved in it. But for my previous employee, I took it over and kind of improved it when I was an employee there. And when I left, they didn't really know what to do with it because it wasn't their main focus. So after a while, I was offered a chance to buy it and to continue with it. And today there are I have 4 customers who are using it, for hospitals that are using it to evaluate patients. And I had a lot of help from the Linköping University in evaluating this and doing research on basically how useful it is, how useful the data is that it presents. And they were very happy with the findings. And so for now, it's kind of beta software, and it's being used by 4 different universities, different hospitals, awaiting certification. That's the last step. It needs to be certified to be a medical product before it can be used large scale. And that has been postponed a bit because of I've been so very busy with my other product.
Wow, that's super interesting.
Thank you.
I've heard about all these laws when it comes to medical aspects, but it's like, can you tell us about your challenges with that?
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be such a hard challenge. It depends, because when it comes to medical products, they are categorized depending on what kind of medical product it is.
Okay.
And this is categorized as the lowest level. It means that, it doesn't matter if the software crashes. You can just restart it and redo the test.
Okay.
It's not like a medical implant
No,
where it would be
that's true.
catastrophe. And the data that it presents, it doesn't do an evaluation on its own. It presents the data to the doctor, and the doctor uses that as part of the evaluation. It's a recommendation to the doctor from the software. So it's not directly influencing the decision, it's indirectly influencing the decision. So it's the lowest level, but for that I still need to go through a certification process, and there needs to be third party doing the certification, a person.
What type of certification is that
It-
you need to acquire?
It's actually CE certification, kind
Okay.
of. It's I don't remember the name of it exactly now, but it's very interesting because it's the same certification is valid across all of Europe.
Okay.
So once I have it certified here in Sweden, I
Wow.
can start selling it all across Europe.
Wow.
So that makes it very interesting and makes it's possibly very profitable.
Is it like
So what are the hurdles that you are facing to get that certification right now?
For right now, the only real hurdles I'm facing is lack of time. I have found the company that can help me through certification. I have allocated the funds I need for that. There's a cost for that that's approximated to something like 50,000 Swedish crowns to just go through the process and get some help, maybe 100,000 at most. So it's in that ballpark. And I had so little time right now. I'm busy with my other product, and also in my private life I've been very busy. I'm actually getting married in a month, so it's all the preparations for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's actually I've been thinking that once the wedding is done and have some time to relax and cool down, I'm gonna
You don't
dive
have-
into the certification
You
process.
don't have time after wedding. Believe me, I'm a married guy.
Yeah. No, I've been married before actually. This is my second time around.
Best
Yeah.
of luck this time.
Yeah, thank you.
well, you know what
I'm
they
sure
say.
it will turn out well this time. I already live with my fiance and her children, so it won't be so much of a dramatic change.
Hope so.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure it will be good.
yeah. Thank you.
So what inspired you to start this product, Cybersim?
Well, as I said, I didn't really start it myself, but what really inspired me to take it over, it was a number of facts actually. First of all, it was a product that was basically done, just waiting for someone to take it over and get it certified, fix a few lost, some polish, fix some bugs, and get it out there. And
So what was the reason that the previous developer did not pursue that project? And
yeah,
why did you did that?
yeah, and the thing is that they are a big company with more than 1,000 employees, and they have a big structure, and they are more into consulting, not doing their own products. So this was totally alien to them. So I fully understand that they decided that the product that we had evaluated, that there would be market, an income of roughly maybe 1 million crowns a year from Sweden for the licenses for this product, roughly in that neighborhood, and then more for the rest of Europe, of course. That's a too small product for them to manage with their overhead and their costs. So they were not so interested in bringing it further. And it was frustrating because a lot of good people had worked on it, put in some work on it, and it was done, but it wasn't getting anywhere. And even more frustrating was that there were these 4 or 5 different sites that were already using it and finding it useful. It was an important tool in their everyday work. And suddenly they would be without anybody who could update it, fix bugs, do support, things like that. And I thought that this would be a great project for me as a side project, because once it's done and once the sale is done, overhead is very, very small. I mean, it will bring in license money on a regular basic. On a regular base, like a steady income every month for maybe a little bit of support. I expect like maybe 20% of my time will be spent on doing support for this product, and it could essentially cover all my expenses and all my living costs. So it was a great thing to land in my lap, and it's like, you know, it lands in my lap, and it's like,
It's been there for 6 years now.
yeah, it's unfortunately, but when it lands, it's like, am I gonna drop this ball or am I gonna catch it? And they.
So what do you feel now? Have you caught it or you drop it, or it's in the middle?
It's in the middle, and I'm getting frustrated, and I feel like I'm about to drop the ball if I don't do anything about it right now. So I've been really considering, you know, pushing life back into it now. I mean, I have had this project in my lab for not 6 years but 3 years, but it was started development for more than 6 years ago. So it has been around for a while.
So how are you keeping it up to date? Like, technology is rapidly changing. The product started like more than 6 years ago. Like, how are you keeping it up to date? Like,
well, I don't need to do so much, but there are some times, like last year, they needed some updates because changes to the operating systems, automatic updates. It was running on Windows, and those were making, you know, there were some bugs popping up. So I needed to fix that. So I needed to spend a few days digging through, finding out what's wrong, fixing it, and providing an update.
Is it like Windows-based or also iOS?
It's Windows-based, but it could be compiled for anything. So, but for the moment, it's Windows-based. So they just use it on a normal Windows computer with basically just a normal gaming steering wheel connected to it and a screen in front of it. And that's all that is needed. Because the important thing is the evaluation software.
Sounds like a good match.
Did the gamer inspire you to take this project? The inside gamer?
I was about to say that.
Not really, actually. I would say it's almost the other way around. I've been away from the game industry for a long time. And when I left, it was always nice and fun in the game industry, but it was a lot of hard work. And I wasn't particularly fond to dip my toes back into it. But, you know, when this landed in my lap, I thought that, okay, I'm the right person to take this on. But unfortunately, so much have happened that I haven't really had the time. I thought I would finish it up last year, but I just made some updates and fixes for them and packaged a new version. And then I didn't have the time for it anymore. So now, 1 year after that, in the summer, now I think I will be able to finish it once and for all. So, but then there's the next challenge, of course, and that's selling it. I mean, I have like 4 or 5 customers who will be happy to start paying for the real version, and they're just using a beta right now. But then I need to reach out to all the other places, and that's new territory for me because I'm a developer and not a salesperson.
But is there, like, you know, this product, is there anything like it out there, or is it like this is like a one of a kind?
Actually, there is one other product that I've learned about later on, which was developed in the 90s.
Wow.
And it's used by one of the sites still, running on PCs from the 90s.
Really?
And they want my product because they're worried that this PC will break down any minute. And then they're without one of the most important tools to evaluate the patients in this respect. Because then they will need to go back to basically pen and paper and doing some kind of tests on paper, you know, like fill in this as quickly as you can, look at this kind of thing, and, you know, and respond to questions.
Horrifying.
yeah, it's horrifying to them because they've been using it since the 90s. It's actually a Dutch software. And I didn't know about that earlier, but those, when they started to develop this Cybersim, they actually looked a bit at that software, understand, because there are lots of similarities.
That inspired it.
Yeah, it inspired it. But that has been discontinued. So it's from the 90s.
So I'm guessing your project will be like almost one of a kind. Or like
I believe so too. And I think there's an important thing here for many people to learn when it comes to startups and businesses, and that's not to always try to go for the big goals that everybody's aiming for. It's trying to find a niche somewhere where you can fit in, where you can have time to develop without some bigger boys coming and stomping all over you. Like when I was showing people that I had bought the rights to this software, lots of people were saying that, hey, but why don't you turn it into what you say it, software for the driving schools. Don't you know how many driving schools there is? And they need software for this kind of things. And I was saying, no. There are already companies doing that. And they are already using software for that.
You want to be unique.
Yeah, it helps. Especially when you're small and need to start from scratch and build things. I mean, I've been working for and I've been running bigger companies. And but when you start from scratch, it's quite useful to start a little bit in a duck pond, to hone your skills, to develop, to grow, and then move on to something else.
As you were discussing that the marketing aspect, that is one of the biggest issues that I have seen new startups face when it comes to sell their product. Most of them are scientists, developers, engineers that come up with an innovative idea.
Yeah.
But when it comes to marketing and sales, it's a very big hurdle, and I have seen most companies fail because of this single aspect.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in a lucky position that I already have an income stream from other product. I'm doing consulting on that, and I have licensing fees that I collect. So I mean, my income is secured. It's just an investment to put time and effort into this, and like lowering the other income stream, lowering focus on developing the other product in order to develop more on this. So I can afford that it will take some time, but the longer it takes until I start to get the payback from all my investment.
I think even though it takes a longer time, but I feel like it's like a really good product. Like, how, in what way, will this product, help them?
Well, directly, it will help in two ways. It's the doctors and their patients, but then also people like you and me in traffic, because it's very dangerous. If somebody who is not able to drive, and very dangerous in traffic, and he's driving, and he doesn't understand it because he has always been driven. I mean, it's typically older people who guess this. They are creatures of habit. They want to use the car. They've always used it. And the degradation process is so slow that they don't see it coming. It goes so slowly that they don't understand it themselves. And when it comes to when you get the stroke, it can be quite sudden, and you might not understand it yourself. And the benefits of this product compared to other similar products, I mean, there is not a product like this, but there are other products to test individually the different aspects of driving, like field of vision, time of reaction, cognitive abilities, and things like that. So there are a battery of tests you can do instead of this specific kind of test.
My question was regarding this. I was going to ask you that. How come your algorithm is different from other algorithms regarding sight, hearing, and testing the product? Is there's a difference in the algorithm?
There is a difference. There's a tuning difference too, and the way they evaluated this was mainly by taking, I think it was 4 or 5 other products used for these kinds of evaluation, and taking the results from Cybersim and comparing to the scores that they get from those, and kind of aligning the scores like what is good, what is bad, etc. And they had a very good overlap, and in some ways they thought that this gave a better result. But that wasn't the most important part. The more important part was to be able to get rid of some tests, to do it more all in once. And another aspect that was very important too, that was that it would be much more easier to convince a driver that he isn't so good at driving anymore if he can see it for himself, that he scores badly in a test where he actually is holding a steering wheel and driving, instead of scoring badly in a test that he's doing with pen and paper. It's very hard for them to relate that, well, I wasn't good on this test, but I'm a good driver. This is not related.
What were the reactions of those people that actually took the test simulator that you developed?
Yeah.
Was it a positive feedback? It was a negative feedback? What was their reaction regarding to that?
I wasn't involved in the tests myself. There have been clinical tests done by doctors in the hospitals. I have been presented the results. And their experience was that most people liked the tests. I mean, like it was a good experience for them. It felt relevant that the doctors were making a test that was relevant to the driving abilities. They could directly connect this is about driving. And the doctors felt good about that too, because it was easier to communicate things with the patients. And it was a quick and easy way to do the test.
So what were you finding regarding that? Like most of the drivers that took the test, were they able to drive after that, or?
Most are.
Most are.
I mean,
That's good news.
Yeah, it's typically that. I don't know exactly the rules, but typically, like if you get a stroke and you have driver's license, you should probably be tested like this. And as far as I understand, most drivers pass it. And so this test basically provides more or less like 3 categories. It's like passing the test, gray area, and probably should not be driving. But it's never up completely to this test. I mean, there's a doctor or nurse that understands the test standing next to the person while performing it, so they can see how they're reacting. Some elder people, they get nervous sitting in front of a computer and things like that. They need to take all of that into account, and they do. So it's a human factor.
I think it's really good because, like, in a sense, like we are as visual, people.
The test makes it easier for them, for both the patient and the doctor, to see things clearly. It's all about making the results visual and relevant, and that they can see it for themselves. So that's good. If they can't even keep the car on the road when the road is turning, something might be wrong.
Yeah.
It's very easy to relate to that maybe I shouldn't be driving anymore.